Come on. As we proceed to give you guys what you need, I'm going to tell you, I heard a little bit of this press conference or interview of Jimmy Johnson. Man, my goodness. Cowboys ex-head coach, he was spitting. He speaks the truth, and I can't wait to share it with you. Shout out to 105.3, The Fan, for this wonderful, and I mean just that, wonderful interview. Come on, shout out to you, Manny. Shout out to you, Asmodeus and Murphy Brown. Appreciate you. Murphy Brown, get down. Shout out to you, Small. Appreciate you. Let's go. Come on. Let's get it, Cowboy Nation. We're going to rush through this one, though. Y'all already know I got plans. I've been making plans for you. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. All right. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate you, Dustin. Appreciate you, Sean. Thank you for jumping in and on the YouTube. If you're live on the Facebook, let me know, and let me know where you guys are from. Like I said, I'm pressed for time. You guys already know. Got a lot of things to do this afternoon, and I really appreciate you guys so much for helping me grow and sharing this content, hitting that subscribe button, and just telling people where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. I really appreciate you so much, but let's jump right into this interview that 105.3 The Fan did with my guy Jimmy Johnson, right, who belongs in a Ring of Honor, who he got him a gold jacket. Now we just need to get him a Ring of Honor situation when you go out to the stadium and beyond. So if this your first time here, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. But let's listen to this.
Coach, we are the Cowboys station, and we'll get to the book in a second. Just wanted to get your current thoughts on these Cowboys as a Super Bowl contender this year.
I think this is the best Cowboys team that I've seen. For one thing, Mike McCarthy did a tremendous job of overcoming Dak being out and winning those games. I'll tell you what, no one expected that. Everybody's saying, well, if you could win one, maybe win two. But he did a tremendous job with that staff and with that team to overcome Dak being out. I think you look at the NFC, I'm still not 100% sold on Philadelphia.
Wow. Murphy Brown, you hear that from Jimmy Johnson. He said he's not 100% sold on your team. And did you guys hear that? Let me rewind just a little bit. Let's rewind just a little bit. Let me make sure I'm hearing what I'm hearing.
Everybody's saying, well, if you could win.
In a second, just wanted to get your current thoughts on these Cowboys as a Super Bowl contender this year.
I think this is the best Cowboys team that I've seen. For one thing, Mike McCarthy did a tremendous job of overcoming Dak being out and winning those games. I'll tell you what, no one expected that. Everybody's saying, well, if you could win one, maybe win two. But he did a tremendous job with that staff and with that team to overcome Dak being out. I think you look at the NFC, I'm still not 100% sold on Philadelphia. And the Cowboys are going to be able to get Philadelphia at home.
Okay.
The 49ers, they're in a hole right now, but they've got a talented team. They might have a shot. Green Bay's really not any good, even though I'm sure they'll put up an effort here this weekend.
Right.
But, the NFC's down. I think the Cowboys have as good a shot, in fact, a better shot than most anybody there. And it'll come down to that Christmas Eve game against the Eagles.
Why aren't you totally sold on Philly yet?
Yeah, why aren't you?
If you look at Philadelphia, they run a little different style of offense that gives people problems right off the bat.
Okay.
And most of their scoring comes early, especially in the second quarter. But once a team adjusts to that different style, the second half, they're playing them touch and go. And the other thing is a team playing them for the second time will be that better prepared for them.
Oh, my goodness. So the Washington Commodores or Commanders, however you want to call them, they play the Eagles Monday night. So we will see if Jimmy Johnson theory is correct, right? You know, they get another shot at the Eagles, and we'll see if they made any necessary adjustments. The Washington team, I think that the spread or Vegas got the Eagles a +10, right? So the Eagles are clearly way better as it relates to Vegas, but, you know, the Washington team are the underdogs. So we'll find out whether or not he is right with that as far as the adjustments. You know, the NFL, it sometimes take a minute to catch up with you, and once they do, it goes wee down the slide real quickly. So we'll find out, man. But if I'm a betting man, you know, a person who's been to the Super Bowl multiple times, you know, by the name of Jimmy Johnson, I'm not going to pick against him. You know, you can try to say you will pick against him, but I trust Jimmy Johnson's thoughts and information about that. So let's see what else he have to say about this, Cowboy Nation.
So, again, they've jumped on a bunch of teams early and gotten a lead, but those teams have usually come back in the second half. So I like seeing that offense for the second time will help Dallas, and especially being at home.
Yeah.
What are your impressions of Jalen Hurts?
Hurts.
I am really surprised that he has been as accurate as what he is, because that was a problem for him early. I think he's a tremendous worker. I watched Philadelphia work out against the Dolphins and visited with them a little bit there and watched their team. They're really deep and talented in the offensive and defensive line. That pays dividends when you get injuries. As far as Jalen Hurts, he's a good runner, not a great runner, but a good runner, and he takes advantage of the offense. He's running an offense that suits him, but I am surprised that he's throwing the ball so well.
Okay.
Jimmy, the Cowboys have said all year, our formula is we are a run-first football team.
Right.
What do you make of that, considering, you know, do you like that formula with a $40 million quarterback? Like, you're going to pay the quarterback $40 million. Do you really want to be run first?
Before he goes into the details of that, when you put money, and I said this about last week, you know, when you put money into it, you lose the argument. We played the game, not play the money. And you're just trying to win. And whatever Dak Prescott is getting far as his remuneration was the market value, right? They didn't pay him below market, right? They paid him right at what his market value was rendering. Now, the Cowboys didn't allow him to test the market, dare I say. For 2 years, they put back-to-back franchise tags on him, and they rescinded the other one and worked out the long-term deal is what he playing under now. A third of the money, most of the guarantee already taken care of. So when people say, hey, man, you know, the Cowboys can't make moves, bullsugar. Most of the guaranteed money is already gone off of his contract, by the way. How much did he count against the cap last year? Can y'all pull up that information for your boy? So when you start talking about money, it really clouds the team. Just play football. Sound football. Let me see. I want to know what he's going to say, though. Well,
you know, points come in the passing game. But you're going to be effective in the passing game if you can run the football.
Yeah.
There's going to be times where you have to run the football. You have to be able to run the football at the end of games. You've got to be able to run the football to eat up the clock, you know, to win games. And so that's something that you have to do. But points are going to come in the passing game. But you'll get the explosive plays out of the passing game if people are playing the run, if they're trying to stop Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard. And so you look at that, I think the balance helps. And there'll be games that you're not going to run it much. You know, you play the Buccaneers with their defense, you're going to be throwing it most of the time. But you play another team and you're going to be running it most of the time. When you get a big lead, you're going to be running it. So I think you got to have both.
How do you feel, Coach, about Dak as a franchise quarterback now?
Another one, man. They throwing some haymakers at Jimmy. I really want to know what Jimmy about to say about Dak Prescott as a franchise quarterback. And I like Jimmy Johnson's answer to the other question. He didn't even echo the money. He basically said, hey, balanced approach. There are some things that when you run the ball, it will open up for the explosions of the passing play. And there are times that you would need to utilize your quarterback to throw the ball. I love his answer and his response to that. And I've been telling people for many of years, right? Play the game like it's chess, right? And even if you have weapons, sometimes you got to use the pocket knife. Sometimes you must use the machete. Sometimes you need to use the machine gun. But just don't fall in love with one weapon. Utilize all, not just a few. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I think you can win a championship with Dak. There's no doubt about it. But Dak, just like any other quarterback, he's got to have the right supporting cast. Just like down here, everybody's ready to get rid of Tua his first couple of years. But now you put Tyreek Hill there and Jalen Waddle and a couple of running backs and an offensive tackle. All of a sudden they're saying Tua might be MVP. so you look at it, every quarterback, Troy, when Troy was a rookie, he goes out there, didn't win a game. The second year, we would have made the playoffs. We were one game away from the playoffs, and Troy injured his shoulder. I went to Troy and I said, Troy, I'm sorry, I tried to push you for the Pro Bowl. You didn't make the Pro Bowl. And I remember it like yesterday. He looked over at me and said, Coach, he said, you keep bringing in young, good talent. He said, I'll go to lots of Pro Bowls.
Jimmy Johnson joined us here at 105 through the Fan. The book is called Swagger. It is released nationally on November 15th. Pre-order it now on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Yeah, Swagger book, man. We're going to have to get some and maybe give them out to some of the Cowboy fans out here. So technically, he was saying you put weapons around them and it can happen. I think that even shout out to my guy, 2 Cent, who is a diehard Steelers guy, right? I mean, one of the missing parts of the Steelers right now, quarterback, right? I mean, you pick up Dak Prescott and you put him on the Steelers, I'm quite sure whatever record that you guys got, it would not be the same, right? It would be a better record. And right now, you got to go through growing pains with the tiny hands guy. What's his name? I forgot his name just that quick. The guy with the tiny hands over there. You got to go through those growing pains, right? And you got to rip the Band-Aid off. But they tried to play around with their food and start Mitch Trubisky, and they lived off the old information from him, former first-round draft pick, and you thinking that you can hit and strike, lightning with him, but it just didn't happen. So it's back to the drawing boards. What's that guy's name, 2 Cent? I forgot that quarterback's name. Is it Kenny Pickett, something like that? Tiny hands. So it may be 2 or 3 years before he developed. But the quarterback, to the run game, to the wide receivers, all of those weapons must come together. Yes, Action Power. So if we go all the way back to the 89 Cowboys, right? People were looking at Troy Aikman like, hey, first-round draft pick. Oh, my goodness. He can only get you one game? One game? Who remember 1989, right? For your mind. It wasn't good. But they saw some talent in him, and they continued to add pieces, plugging those pieces together. And the Cowboys, we got the pieces now, right? We got the coaching philosophy. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson for giving Mike McCarthy praises. Jimmy Johnson, it's been many of years that he called into various episodes and radio stations. And the previous coaches, we didn't hear Jimmy Johnson say, hey, that's a good job by Jason Garrett. No, we haven't heard him say that. But we hear him saying some praises now of Mike McCarthy. So that's good stuff. Let's see what else they have to say. Shout out to y'all that's watching.
How do you utilize and how would you utilize Tony Pollard versus Zeke? I mean, Pollard's having this great year, explosive plays, and Zeke is more of the, dirty yards kind of back, great, better blocking back. How would you utilize the two?
I think what they're doing right now is the best way. And, people have asked me, don't you want Pollard in there all the time because he gets the explosive plays? Well, he's getting the explosive plays because defenses are geared up to stop Ezekiel Elliott and the physical play of him running the football there. He's a big physical. In fact,
back, great, better blocking back. How would you utilize the two?
Yo, I want you guys to stop what you're doing, turn off the TV, turn off any other distractions, and just listen to the legend speak of it, right? Let's just listen. You don't have to do anything else. Just listen to this part right here.
I think what they're doing right now is the best way. And, people have asked me, don't you want Pollard in there all the time because he gets the explosive plays? Well, he's getting the explosive plays because defenses are geared up to stop Ezekiel Elliott and the physical play of him running the football there. He's a big physical. In fact, Terry Bradshaw did an interview with Dak here the other day, and he said Ezekiel Elliott came in and talked to him. He said, man, he is thick. He is a big back. He was so impressed with him just talking to him. I think the combination of the two.
Big D's,
I don't think Pollard would be near as effective if he was the only back.
He's driving.
Jimmy, a lot of people would like your thoughts on how special Micah Parsons is. Does he remind you of anyone?
Before he go into that, man, he's thick, huh? That's weird when somebody describe a man being thick. But neither here nor there. Big D's, man, make sure, man, you pull over for this segment, man, because we want you to have the straight-up attention of what Jimmy Johnson got to say about these players on this team. And all I can think of is in my mind, like how he would coach these guys, right? And what I'm saying the whole time, it shouldn't be the battle royale of Ezekiel Elliott versus Tony Pollard. Both of those guys are unique. Just still, in my mind, you cannot have Tony Pollard with only 3 to 4 touches. You can't do that. You got to give that man double-digit touches. That's just what I'm saying. And on top of that, with Ezekiel Elliott, I'm hearing news from information around from John Machota and the other guys that's out there, the beat writers are saying that, hey, He practiced today. There's no hiccups or what have you, and he could be playing this weekend. But I do like the ideology that if you can rest him and Malik Davis and Tony Pollard can hold it down, then we good. We straight up good because we would need him more in the playoffs versus right about now. And if you guys have any reservations on Ezekiel Elliott, I know the past is far, far, far from the future. But the last time the Cowboys did win a first playoff game, Ezekiel Elliott had north of 100 yards, right? So we need that type of Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm quite sure he may not get that 100 yards, but, man, if he can give us at least 60 to 70, and if we can split that up with Tony Pollard with multiple touches, man, we on to something good. Let's listen to more of what we have to say.
And do you think that this Cowboys defense is or can be special?
I think they are special. Dan Quinn's done a great job with them. But Micah Parsons, I watch him every single week. And now I know Belichick, my buddy, is going to get mad at me. I mean, he may be the best player I've seen. And, of course, Bill's going to say Lawrence Taylor's the guy.
Ooh, you hear that word, his buddy. There's a documentary out there, and I know Bill Belichick, he has been a shell of himself coaching as of lately since Tommy Boy done left. But Bill Belichick used to pick Jimmy Johnson's brain on how he should build and set up his training routines, on how he should handle his players for the Patriots, and he was just jotting down every single thing that Jimmy Johnson said and told him to do. It's quite strange that when people say the Patriots way and the Patriots philosophy, but in actuality, baby, it is the Cowboys way. And I ain't talking about the driveway through Frisco, Texas. It is really the Cowboys way. Shout out to you, Action Power. Appreciate Java for the first support, the donation to help elevate the nation, baby. Appreciate you. Java says, Lord, You think Jerry will put Jimmy in the Cowboys' Ring of Honor? No, I don't think Jerry will. I think it will be either Stephen Jones or Jerry Jr. or Charlotte Jones. I think Jerry will go to his grave with this on his shoulder and saying almost, hey, we're going to wait for the moment is right, the time is right. And I could be 1,000,000% wrong. But his intentions are already there. One thing I know for sure with people with money, if they want to get things done, it don't take hell and high water, right? They would get it done. They would get it done. If billionaires want to get things done, it don't take much. They snap that thing right into it. And for Jerry lollygagging and waiting around and these sorts of things, he's buying time not to, right? So I just don't think, Java, I appreciate you for your support, but I'm not finna be out here putting lipstick on a pig or lying to kick it to you guys. I've seen it. When billionaires want to move, they move, right? And when millionaires want to move, they move, right?
But Micah Parsons, he amazes me. His size and his speed, he makes plays all over the field. He's and everything I hear about him is his work ethic, his passion, his leadership qualities. He's a special individual. I voted him as the best MVP, not being a quarterback.
Wow. Mm.
There's talk of bringing Odell Beckham in. We have not heard the Cowboys kind of get up and stump for a player that we have ever seen more than this. How would you weigh bringing in a extreme talent, a big personality this late in the year versus maybe disrupting the locker room, the chemistry, whatever it may be?
Michael Strahan knows him extremely well, and Michael and I have talked about him a bunch.
Right.
I think he would be an addition. I don't think he would be a disruption.
Mm-hmm.
Michael says he's really a good guy, works hard. Everybody in the locker room, loves him.
Right.
The concern I have is, how quick is he going to be able to contribute in a positive way?
Man, that's good points from Jimmy Johnson. Before that point goes too far away, let me just slide back just a little bit, if that's okay with you guys, on the Parsons deal. Big, fast, physical. Man, my goodness. And shout out to Lawrence Taylor, but he had his demons, right? And I'm knock on wood. I don't think Parsons will have those levels of demons the way Lawrence Taylor had, right? There was multiple Lawrence Taylors out there. High Lawrence Taylor, low Lawrence Taylor, and Lawrence Taylor. Fearless, without pain, because he was high. So high. John Legend high. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So here's the thing. You got now a guy that comes once every, 25 to maybe 50 years out of Parsons. His ability to run the 4-3, can play multiple spots on the field. Safety, linebacker, defensive edge. This dude, remarkable. My thing is the Cowboys, just be clear with it. They better continue to put pieces around him. Don't just look at it and say, okay, Parsons, it's all up to you now. No, continue to add pieces around him. Never be satisfied. Never put everything on the plate just for him. Law, do you have any truth to that? Yeah. Last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, how many pieces did they put around Aaron Donald, right? People fail to realize Aaron Donald couldn't do it by himself. And I know that the NFL is an ultimate team sport, but we got to contextualize it like this. You still need to put pieces around said defensive guy. You do. In the NFL, they got just as much athletic guys on the opposing team that can stop you. And you still need to make sure you do your due diligence by putting pieces around your star.
Because he hadn't played football in a while. He's coming off a major knee surgery. And
now back to the Odell Beckham talk. Let's listen.
So it may be, we may expect more out of him than what he can give early. The other thing is when a player hasn't been out there, I've seen it time and time again when they've had a long layoff, and then they hit the field. 2 weeks later, they pull up a hamstring, or they pull a groin or something.
Big facts.
Because they're not football ready.
Right.
So how football ready is he going to be?
Ooh. All right. So he gave us, I love it, is objective analysis from Jimmy Johnson. He's not giving you sunshines and rainbows, Skittles and sherbet ice cream and all of this stuff. He's giving you the real, the raw, and everything else. So here's the truth about what he said about Odell Beckham. Yes, he's a hard worker. And then he got somebody with credence and validations to say, hey, Michael Strahan, who knows him, right? He said, this dude, first one basically in the gym, last one to leave type of mindset. This dude got a lot of energy. He will be that guy. And far as for what I know, the players that played with Odell Beckham, I'm hearing nothing but great report from them, right? I'm not hearing people saying that he's a cancer in the locker room and things like that. So that's a good thing. But on the flip side, objectively speaking, when you bring in somebody of that kind of caliber, yeah, they may give you one good game. And then the soft tissue issues step in. Hammy, right? Growing, right? So if he's ready to play, Britt Brown and all of those boys better get him going the best way, and that's slowly integrating him into the system, slowly bringing him in. I recall a time, Cowboy Nation, that a lot of people was doing comparisons, analysis of Michael Gallup juxtaposed to Chris Godwin for the, I want to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was ready week one. I think that their ACL situation, ready timetable, was right around the same time frame. Yes, Chris was able to play week one, but that soft tissue issue stepped in. He might have won the battle, but the war was far from over. They rushed him out there, and then he was hurt for like the next 3 or 4 weeks. You do not want that out of Odell. You want to slowly bring him in, and if he fit, then yeah, you won. And if he don't, then yeah, at least you got him for next season. That's how the Cowboys should look at this. They shouldn't rush it. You can't rush perfection. Shout out to you. And thanks, Coach Marv. Thank you for the super chat. There we go. So Jimmy Johnson spoke the truth, objectively speaking. You do not want to rush this man in there, and then you don't want to put that thing out there, and then all of a sudden you got a healthy guy that you got on the bench, and you got a wounded guy out there that's slowing down the team. Let's go.
The legend, Jimmy Johnson, the Hall of Famer, here on the home of the Cowboys with Sean and RJ. The book Swaggers coming out Tuesday, November 15th. You can pre-order now at Amazon or wherever books are sold. Obviously, Coach, the story never dies down here. I've seen you in other newspaper interviews. It's kind of all Jimmy. We've had to hang on to over the last 25 years. Be careful. What's your we have him on every Tuesday and Friday on the station. What's your relationship like with Jerry Jones today?
Be careful, Jimmy.
Yeah, I started the chapter off with Jerry saying, people don't understand our relationship.
Right.
Simply for the reason I don't understand our relationship. If I saw Jerry today, I would imagine we would both smile and hug each other and say, well, yeah, it was a great run, and, then how he would feel 2 days later, I don't know. I have, in fact, you read the book. I was very, very complimentary of Jerry. Yeah. I think he has done a great job for the NFL, one of the great owners in the NFL. Yeah. And made every owner in the NFL a lot of money. He's passionate. He works hard. He loves the Cowboys. As far as our relationship, I never know. I got great admiration for Jerry.
I'm good. Because, when somebody say all of the good things and they say, but, that kind of takes away everything. I call Bull Sugar on his report, right? A woman, and I know that it's not a male and female conversation, But a woman knows when she's the side chick, right? She knows when she's not getting all of the good things because there are ways that a guy would operate. No. Let's not take pictures in public. No, we only calling you from between the hours of 11 o'clock at night, maybe to around 3 o'clock. So those things, you know where your place is at. But when you being valued and when you being put in the right spots and places, you get all of the love and adulations. There's no hesitations for the nation. You are being put out there for everything. Look, when a man really loves a woman, she can just be going to the mailbox. He's right with her. Let me go with you, baby. When she's going to the movies. Baby, I'll be that extra guy with you, baby. I can't let you go with just your female friends. I want to be there to the end. So you know where your place at in line when you the side chick. And Jimmy Johnson, he's just trying to be PC with it, but he knows. He's saying that he's the unknown. Man, as far as this relationship, come on, man. You know where you stand. You got to understand. Cam says not all women. Well, that means that man is a smooth operator for her to only think that, well, he's only seeing me at night because he works hard during the daytime and I only come over just to relax his mind. No. She know where she's at, right? Come on. All of a sudden on Thanksgiving and Christmas, he come down with a situation that he can't bring her around the family. Come on, man. And that is what's going on with Jimmy. And Thanksgiving and Christmas, he's not welcome to the table. But everybody else, they got a seat at the table, but Jimmy not. Come on, think about it, Jimmy. Open up your mind, baby. Everybody else is invited to the Ring of Honor. Troy, Emmett, Michael Irvin, but you, the one that coached those boys, and your name is not up there, come on, the table is already set. This is knowledge speaking to you. And now I see gray in your hair, and I don't have any, but right now I'm speaking wisdom like I'm your father, So right now, you got to understand where your place is at right now. You the side coach.
I was sitting here, chapter 12, it starts off, and you put in a section of your contract, which I thought was pretty telling. And I've said, Coach, my theory is that Jerry is like the most successful, insecure person that I've ever known or ever interviewed, because it just seems like he wants to be in the cool kids club.
Verdi says Jimmy is being diplomatic. Yeah. Bipartisan Jimmy. Jimmy is trying to get, look, Jimmy's smart, though. He's smart. Hey, I said some positive things about him, I put all types of good stuff in that book. Now, he probably X out some of that bad stuff because, in the hearts of hearts, he want to be there, He wanted to be there. And if anything can speak highly of Jimmy, he got a gold jacket. Come on, man. How you gonna have a gold jacket but don't have a place in the ring? You're not welcome to the table, Jimmy. But I'm gonna get you one day. One day you're gonna get to a chance to be at the table, but not right now. Not right now. We still not over it, Jimmy. What's that, lady? We got 4 ahead of you, Jimmy. Man, that's what's going on with him. Let's listen to more, man.
Of wanting the football credit. You've said he could make $5 million. Nobody cared. You trade for Tony Casillas. He wants the football credit for it. Is that what this whole thing has basically circulated around?
Ooh, they're hidden.
The reason I reprinted the contract in the book is because I think really the contract was the basis of part of our conflict. Uh-huh. Because when we started off, Jerry said, hey, I'm going to handle all the business, all the finances, you handle all the football. So Nick Christian, my attorney, wrote up the contract that way. And it worked fine because really the first couple of years, Jerry was spending 24 hours a day trying to pay off that loan. I was spending 24 hours a day trying to overcome 1 in 15. And in fact, people don't realize how bad the Cowboys were. Tom Landry is one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yep.
He had 3 straight losing seasons,
right? And
they were 3-13. They were a bad football team.
They were.
So I was spending all my time on football. He was spending all of his time on that loan. And the one thing about it, we talked back and forth,
right?
A couple times a day throughout those first few years. And I think because of the contract and because of the conflict and because we stopped talking and communicating, I think that started, us butting heads a little bit the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Here's what I've
And so
always.
really,
Sorry, go ahead.
that's what caused the conflict.
I've always wanted to ask you. I don't even know if it matters today. I know Belichick and everyone else flies down there to go fishing with you to pick your football brain. You said you just want to fish and drink beers, and Belichick wants to talk about the salary cap and the draft. But
That's the best conversation, man. Man, look, may my grandfather rest in peace, man. One of the things that I wish that I was able to do with him is when I got older, right, to hang out and kick it with him, grab a taste, and just talk life. Somebody who's able to get to where he's at with a first grade or a second grade education, right, to have all of that wisdom and knowledge and understanding. That right there is everything. And people have these type of conversations all the time. Would you rather have $1 million from Jay-Z or multiple sit-downs of conversation with Jay-Z, right, to manage your $1 million? So those things right there, and I'm talking about Jay-Z, the businessman, right, because he's a businessman, So I'm talking about that type of information. To some people, give me the $1 million, I'll figure it out myself. But to some people who got money, got resources, who want to flip that, man, let me have the conversation with him, right? And this dude would, instead of giving me the $1 million, he would teach me how to make multiple millions, right? And that's the same thing with Jimmy. That's the same thing with knowledge and wisdom is power, man. Come on, don't y'all understand what I'm saying? Some people like, nah, man, just give me the money, man. I'll learn it. I'll learn it myself. Come on.
But Jerry is a football guy. He is the general manager around here, which many people have a problem with. What was your impression of Jerry and his football knowledge?
Ooh.
Well, see, I really can't say because I'm not there anymore. I was around Jerry all that time for 5 years, but we had different roles during that 5 years.
Yeah.
And, that's been a long, long time ago. And so I know he is, much more involved now than what he was those first 3 years. Of course, I remember he came in my office after that 4th year. He said, "Hey, I paid off that loan." And so, okay, now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
and so I really can't say, because, I would imagine he is 100% more involved now than what he ever was back in those early years.
That ain't what they asking you, though, Jimmy. They're asking you, what is Jerry Jones' football knowledge, acumen? What he knows with the X's and O's. And that, my friend, when you have egos, big ones, edging God out, write that down. That is one of the things that Jerry is seeking, credence, validations, right? He's looking to be known as a football guy. He already made his billions. He already bought the yacht, the helipad, and the helicopter that flies and lands on the helipad, right? He got all of those things. Flip what, 140 or 40 million, however, to 8.9 billion. But that's not good enough because he wants to be able to be mentioned amongst the greats of coaches too. Huh? I watched this movie a long time ago, The Book of Eli. Who remember that movie? Denzel Washington played in that movie. Wonderful job. But the guy, that was in that, it was a post-apocalyptic, whatever, city. And in that movie, the guy had all of the power, all of the resources, everybody eating at his feet. But he wanted more and more knowledge, more and more power. He wanted the book so that he can control the people. He had everything, but he wanted more. Some people don't understand that. Ego. He wanted more. And Denzel, he was blind in that movie, and he had all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, the power, and the understanding. Right? He made the sacrifices. That's a good book, man. That's a good movie. Book of Eli. Y'all check that movie out.
Coach, a big topic around here has been Sean Payton. You're now working with him at Fox. Have you talked to him? How do you think he would potentially fit as a coach under Jerry Jones, as has often been rumored?
Man, 105.
Well, first of all, I think y'all got a great head coach with Mike McCarthy. Mike's done a heck of a job, and what he's doing this year, I admire what he's doing this year.
Yeah.
As far as Sean Payton going back into coaching, he talks about going back into coaching, yes. But he does say, he said, you guys have a ball on Fox NFL Sunday. He said, I like this. He said, I don't know if I can leave this.
Yeah.
But anyway, by the way, he read the book. He said, one thing I'm going to do for sure, he said, after reading your book, I'm going to try to get your contract.
See, Jerry, you messing up now. Oh, you're messing up. You see, Jerry was like, okay, I'm about to put you in the ring. Oh. Did y'all know what the powers that Jimmy had in that contract? Go buy the book. Go buy the book. And see, now, you see, Jimmy, that's why you're not in the ring right now. Boy, you talking too much now. Oh, my goodness. Y'all go and buy that book, pre-order that book, and tell Jimmy Johnson that Law Nation, sent you, But when y'all read that contract, you will understand. And then what Sean Payton is saying, I would come. I just want that contract, that similar language of the contract. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy was not just the coach. He was the GM, too.
But, no, as far as Sean, I would think, having visited with him, he's going to go back into coaching somewhere. But you've got an outstanding coach right there with Mike McCarthy.
Jimmy, how long after you finished coaching did you think it was too long after to actually come back? It made it too hard to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I had issues, because of my approach when I coached.
Right.
I didn't have any family life, and I regret that. I regret it even to this day. I wouldn't change anything. I've talked to my sons about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, my son.
But, my son Chad going through alcoholism, and now he's fantastic. He's super successful right now with his rehab centers. My mother passing away, it just made me realize I didn't have any family life. And so that's what took me out of coaching. Now, I know a lot of coaches, delegate. I know coaches that actually go home for dinner during the season. I never heard of that before.
Y'all hear that? That man had no family life, man. He wasn't the family guy, So, Verdi, appreciate you for the super support. Appreciate you so much for that. And you got to be on the edge when you're the coach. You finding the small things that you can implement in the game, right? Y'all think Spygate was the first one? No, Jimmy Shue, he looked at the small things. He won a Super Bowl by it, right? You guys remember? Saw something that the Bills were trying to input from practice. Oh, but you got to be knee deep into that type of stuff. Kids crying, wah, 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 wah. Baby, go get that kid, put something in that kid's mouth. I'm trying to watch film over here. Matter of fact, I'm going to the outside office, or take the kid outside. I don't have time to change diapers, because you so invested in winning. And winning is contagious. But it also is like alcoholism, right? Once you get that inside of you, some people, like Jimmy, hate losing more than they love winning. So they don't want that taste in their mouths, right? And they refuse to revisit it. And they hold everybody accountable when they do lose, right? They will leave the starting quarterback for being late. They will fly the plane off to another situation, will leave the playmaker. They will set strong rules and other things in place. They will fire a guy who fell asleep in class, right? they would tell somebody the asthma field is over there, and I'm giving you guys the PG-13 version. Not my guy Skywalker Steel version. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy Skywalker. I'm not giving you the Skywalker Steel version. I'm giving you the PG-13. The asthma field is over there. Let's listen to more what he had to say.
I mean, each individual is different. Wayne Huizenga, when I tried to retire the first time, Wayne said, "Hey, leave after the season. Don't come back here until training camp." I said, "Wayne, I can't do that. If my name's on it, I've got to be here working." Yeah. And so different guys approach it in a different way. And with the rules and regulations, maybe coaches can delegate a little bit more and have more of a family life. But I couldn't.
Yeah, how would you handle today's game? I mean, the asthma field or cutting guys on an airplane. I mean, that's not something that really happens today. Like, we're tactics that you used to use that you can't use right now.
Why not?
Can you? Maybe you can. I don't know.
Belichick does it, and he still wins. And so I think as long as the coach has respect and credibility, and the players understand that he's working as hard, if not harder, than they are, and the players understand he's doing everything that he can do to make them better, to make them positioned better, to have a bigger contract and have success in the league, they'll accept whatever. I mean, those players don't want that backup linebacker sleeping in the meeting, not the ones that want to be good.
Big facts, baby. Ooh, y'all listen to Jimmy. As Modia says, Jimmy Johnson Network is $45 million. That's a lot of money to us. That's Roger Goodell's annual salary. Look it up, $45 million a year. So different levels to money. But I feel what you're saying, Asmodeus. And of course, this man is retired now, of course. But money is money now. Shoot, it's many of money. Like if I can never get another spot in my role in this world, let me be commissioned, man. Come on, man, $45 million a year.
Those players don't like people being late for meetings. So I don't know that anything's changed.
Right.
Jimmy Johnson here on The Fan. Coach, how much do you care about being put into the Cowboys Ring of Honor?
Okay. Woo-wee. This is the last segment, man, before I get up out of here. I appreciate everybody. Be sure to hit that like button. If you like the content that I'm providing today, please put that like button in the chat. And sharing is caring, especially if you're on the Facebook. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you're on the YouTube, you can share it to your Twitters and Twitch and everywhere else. And let me know when you do it. And we may have some things in the future for you guys. I really appreciate you and thank those who are supporting this channel.
Well, I'd be honored. I'd be honored to be in the Ring of Honor. There's some great individuals in the Ring of Honor. And the Dallas Cowboys are a big part of my life. So I take great pride in that. And you look at, Jerry's told me, half a dozen times he's going to do it. But I have no control over that. That's up to Jerry. When and if he decides to put me in, again, I would be honored. But if he decides he doesn't want to do it, I understand.
Ooh, that hurting that man right there. He almost cried when he said that, He said Cowboys was a big part of his life, right? I mean, Jerry, man, just do the right thing, man. I know that they got their difference of opinions of everything, different thoughts of it, and whatever it is, it's more than shanking somebody with a butter knife. This right here, going on for what, like 26, 27 years or so, or more. Shoot. It's rough right now. It's the great divide. Shout out to the ice cream. It's pretty good. Try some. But it's a great divide. There will be somebody who would write me a memoir, right? A big old thesis of sheets of information on why Jimmy Johnson is not a great coach. There are a few Cowboy fans that reach out to me even after this video and said, Jimmy really didn't win us those Super Bowls. And I get where they're coming from. It could be Jerry Jones' ghostwriter. I don't know. But in actuality, We still talking about Jimmy. We still talking about the 90s. That's how much of an impact and impressions that he have upon us as Cowboy fans. It's big. Now, it is petty. Yeah, it's petty that he's not in there. But it's crazy that they will hold a grudge this long.
Do you have any clue or theory as to why it hasn't happened yet?
Ooh.
No, not really. It's about like my relationship with Jerry.
Ooh. Look, Sean and RJ is on fire, man. God dog, man. These boys, this is by far the best interview I ever heard from anybody with Jimmy Johnson.
It's a day-to-day thing.
I saw this with our buddy Matt Gango. I thought it was fascinating. I just wanted to repeat it for our radio audience. Do you root for the Cowboys today, or the fact that they haven't really done anything in 25 years, does that make you go, man, that makes me look even better because Jerry can't do it without me?
Now, I'm a Cowboy fan. You know, like I said, the Cowboys are a big part of my life. And so it's only good for me when the Cowboys do good. You know, Fox is televising the Super Bowl in Arizona. I would love for the Cowboys to be in Arizona in the Super Bowl. I mean, it'd be great for me. I mean, I don't look back and say what if and all that stuff. That's history. That was a long, long time ago. I'm part of the Cowboys to this day, and I want the Cowboys to win. In fact, I'm going to pick them by 10 against Green Bay this week.
Oh, yeah. All right, Jimmy, you may not want to do it, but it's iconic. I've never heard it since. Is there any way you could end your discussion with us by recreating a How About Them Cowboys on 105.3 The Fan?
Yo, give it to him, Jimmy.
Well, I can remember it like it was yesterday. You know, all the players around, we had just beat the 49ers, who I thought were the best team in the league. Not that day, but the overall best team in the league. And I knew once we beat the 49ers, there was 100% we were going to beat Buffalo because Buffalo turned it over too much. I knew we were going to win that Super Bowl.
Right,
so that was the feeling in the room. And I stood up on that table. I'm glad it didn't break. I stood up on that table and I said, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, there it is. Jimmy Johnson on the Diamond Factory hotline. Coach, anything else you think our listeners will get out of the book when they get Swagger, which is coming out on November 15th? I know you talk about...
Hey, man, since I'm pressed for time, man, I really appreciate y'all, man. They need to put Jimmy in the ring, man. They need to put him in the ring, man. They need to. They do, for real. Hey, y'all check out 105.3 The Fan. This complete interview is about, man, they had 25, close to 30 minutes with him. Click that link. Shout out to 105.3 The Fan. Sean and RJ, they didn't do a good job. They did a great job with Jimmy Johnson, and they didn't do no pillow talk with him, no soft freebies or anything like that. They came with weapons, man. This was by far the best interview I heard all this year. You know, they were balanced with their approach. They were not disrespectful. They gave him time. They didn't overtalk him. They just went right to it without hesitations, man. So shout out to those boys with that opportunity to speak with Jimmy, and Jimmy responded in a great fashion, and we heard some objective analysis. He gave us thoughts of the Eagles. He gave us thoughts of the NFC. He gave us thoughts of, is Dak Prescott a franchise quarterback, $40 million Dak, and all of that. You know, he did a wonderful job with they did a wonderful job with Jimmy. So let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. And that was great, man. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it to the top of the YouTube page. So if you're watching on YouTube, go to the top of the YouTube page, click that icon there, and it will take you to that interview without me pausing and rewinding and all of that. Cowboy Nation, I'm about to head out. I really appreciate you so much for tuning in. Be sure to share this content and be with me around this conversational pool. Jimmy says he's picking the Cowboys to win with a +10, in mind. So I really appreciate that. Jimmy Johnson, national treasure, right? The guy that belongs in the ring. I'm glad that they gave him a gold jacket. He earned it. They didn't give it to him. I apologize for my conversation, of saying it in that fashion. But when we look at everything, the past is the past, right? We learn from it, right? But we got to move on. We do. Legacies being made now. The moment is being built right now. It's Mike McCarthy time to step in those shoes of Jimmy. Barry Switzer, he was able to get a ring out of it, but that was with Jimmy players, right? And one can argue he didn't fill those shoes. It was still this much space in there, right? And then the next coach, it was this much space. Parcells, maybe his foot was able to fit in those shoes a little bit, but there was still a lot of rope. And God dog, Jason Garrett, I don't even think he was able to put his toes in those shoes, right? They were just standing to the side of Jimmy, right? He never even put the shoe on, basically. So, with that being said, we got Mike McCarthy. Will he be able to put his feet in Jimmy Johnson's shoes? Time will tell. Let me know in the chat. Is he able? Now, Jimmy Johnson, from his mouth to y'all ears, he said that this tape is his Super Bowl contender tape, is one of the better teams he's seen in many years. But being better is one thing. But can you utilize that bettership to win the championship? It all starts on Sunday. Do you play down to the level of competition, or do you destroy the competition? Do you make these things possible with elevations of everybody? The special team unit, the offensive unit, the defensive unit, and most importantly, the coaching unit. Can they stand tall? Are they able to do that? Come on, Cowboy Nation. Write this down. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or lied about, don't deal in lies. If you can do those things, but most importantly, because I want to talk about this, if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it. To give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all other things taut in your cheek, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you can go out there and sweat for it, fret for it, plan for it, and lose all terror of your mind for it, if you will simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and sagacity, with faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty or famine shall fade, or sickness of your body or brain can turn you away from the thing you want, if dogged and grim and besiege and beset it with the help of Almighty Cowboy Nation, as Jimmy Johnson said, you will get it. How about them Cowboys, baby? That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Shout out to 105.3 The Fan. Boy, that was a great episode. DC for life, not for short. Roll credits. Let's go. Salute. Come on. Shout out to you, Jameson Taylor. Give a shout out to those who watch, man. Gotta hit the road. I am awake. How are you? Come on. Choctaw, Montana. Shout out to you. Jason. Retro. Shout out to you. Shout out to those Java, Coach Ma, Verde. Appreciate you. Shout out to the new subs. Appreciate y'all for help growing the empire, the nation as well. Thank y'all. Let's go. Be blessed. Shout out to you, Darrell. Appreciate you. King of all king element. Appreciate you. Thank you. Let's go. Yeah. Thank y'all. One love. DC for life again. Until next time. Salute. Law. Come on. I did. All right.
I get paid on rainy days. I might make it rain today. I got paid off pain today. Thought it'd take the pain away. In my own lane, finger roll. I would never sell my only soul. Heard your whole team was for sale. Heard it's on the market for the low.
Come on.
Who the realest, we might never know.
Brandon Rawls, not Rick. What's good? Gonzalez, appreciate you. Shout out to you, Reed, with the $10 cash app. Come on. Let's say, all right, salute, DC for life again. Peace. Wallace, we out. Bow.